Recording has started. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Villain Arc Podcast, the only podcast where every single person has technical difficulties. I'm your host, Adze, alongside my co host, Dvovsky, and today we have a very special guest, ASid-kun. Why don't you please introduce yourself?
Okay, hello. My name's Acid or Acid. You can call me whatever you wish. Uh, I make a bit of YouTube videos on visual novel, and the core nature of my channel is a light touch of the fun stuff, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I'm very glad to be here. Glad to be invited. Thank you, Dvovsky and Ats, for this opportunity to join in on your podcast.
Yeah,
And
well,
yeah, congratulate on your first video.
we're very happy to have you. In my opinion, Acid is a criminally underrated YouTuber. His videos are absolutely hilarious. We will be linking his channel in the description. Please do go check it out. So, Dvovsky, how about you get us started?
Oh my god. Okay. So, we'll be talking today about Gushing Over Magical Girls, and essentially this anime has been gaining some notoriety as of recording, and it just finished, so it's a wonderful time to review it, in my opinion. And yeah, it's an interesting ecchi, and it's about yeah, it's a parody on the high school magical girl genre, or well, in this case, it's like middle school magical girl. But yeah, um, so ads, how have your thoughts been going so far?
Well, I have been having a wonderful time with it. I am not really that familiar with the magical girl stuffs. Really that I'm not as experienced with anime as many would expect me to be. So I've not really actually watched any magical girl stuff, but I do know kind of the tropes, and I was seeing a lot of the fun it was poking at the genre. And honestly, it's just a funny show. I was having a good time with it.
All right. I mean, it's okay to be inexperienced, to be weak, as a normie, a weakling, as one may say. Ugh. Well, I guess you can get better over time. Baka. Yep. But yeah, Asid, how have our wonderful guest, how have you enjoyed this fine work of literature or art or media?
I'm not too sure how I should take that word weakling or normie to
I don't know.
because he might be a normie in the anime side, but in the visual novel side, definitely not. If you would check if you know Adze's channel and all that.
Yeah, but I think it would just be I think it would just be funnier though. You just go to
Yeah,
Ad's channel and see the rants content.
yeah,
Uh
okay. Yeah.
yeah, and
But
just be like, oh,
to answer your question on the gushing of a magical girl, well, of course, since you guys invited, I actually suggested this anime because I was so infatuated by it. uh, well, because of one, the plot.
the plot.
the
Interesting.
two, yeah, the plot, and two, also the plot. So it's a thing where you came for the plot and stayed for the plot kind of anime, which is awesome. You get both sides of the story.
Wow.
And yeah, how I got introduced to it was that a friend of mine shared what like in our university, like we have an anime group, and then a friend of mine shared like, hey Sid, this anime uh, could be the perfect anime for you or something, if I remember earlier. And I was like, okay, magical girls. Like, I'm not really that interested into magical girls. Like, yeah, the normal magical girl anime I watched was Madoka Magica, and that was a depressing one. And then the visual novel I read was the Dead and Aegis, and that one was also another depressing one. So I didn't really like my experience with magical girls was not that good. So, but then when I checked it out in my anime list and I saw the tag ecchi, immediately got hooked.
I
So I
see. So
had to
you
watch.
came.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. So you came for the plot. I see. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So I watched the first episode and I was like, huh, is she gonna be like is this character going to be a magical girl? And then
Mm.
thinking, oh, she's gonna be the side of righteous and all that, but nope. A sub what subversion of expectations, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
So in the end, she actually became a villain. So I was like, okay, now I'm hooked. And then they actually did the ecchi scenes part. Like I thought it was gonna be censored, but then it was actually uncensored, and I was actually quite surprised, quite shocked, and therefore I was quite hooked onto the. So I just binged the entire thing, and after the episode 12 and before episode 13 came out, I had to read the manga. So I was uh into it, that into it, to the point that I had to go read the manga, but I haven't finished.
Incredible. Yeah. And when you recommended it to us, on call, I went on unnamed anime site where you watch anime definitely legally, obviously, because we would never endorse something like piracy.
Yeah,
Um
piracy is
yeah.
bad for
Yeah.
animators.
Yeah. So I went on this website that's definitely legal. And one of the thumbnails I saw for episode 12, which like just came out or something, it was just like a just I was just like sharing my screen, and kind of like seeing what it's about. And it was just like it's like ass out. Like you could just the whole thumbnail was ass and like panty, and I was like, oh my god. I'm watching this. This is amazing.
Honestly, Dvovsky's kind of downplaying it because we cannot show it to you on screen because we'd be putting ourselves in danger if we did. But you can see a pantied ass with hands reaching up, looking like they're about to spread things. It's, I mean, it looks like porn just from the thumbnail. I've seen tamer thumbnails on actual hentai videos.
I can't believe it's not hentai.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the core, the basic idea. How you would describe the anime in one sentence?
Yeah. So I think it's definitely one of those like it is one of the ecchi of all time. I will say that. Um yeah. So without further ado, kind of done with the prelude, I think. Unless you guys have anything to add.
I don't know. I mean, I'll just say that I know we're kind of memeing on it a bit, but I will say I do think it's actually genuinely pretty well written. Like I can see what it's going for, and I actually appreciate the. I think a good parody kind of requires an understanding of the thing you're parodying, and probably a love of the thing you're parodying too. And I could definitely see that in this show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
if it makes any better, this anime like gave me nostalgia, or I don't know if it's the right word, but it gave me a feeling that I didn't have ever since I first watched High School DxD.
That
And
is yeah.
I'm a very a big fan of High School DxD. I've read the light novels, watched the anime, pretty much have pictures of best girl in my phone. Don't ask why. Uh, and of course, in my profile picture, which I commissioned from on Fiverr, with which has best girl. So to the
Yeah.
extent that it gave me that feeling again, yeah, it should be given credit to, like, the anime. Like, I agree with ads. I am genuinely surprised by the writing and the characters and the character development. Honestly, at least up until episode 10. Yeah, but it has a very nice balance of ecchi and and core plot in general.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I agree. I think it's generally it's pretty good. It sets out, to do what it accomplishes to do. I think with flying colors, it's pretty well animated. The music can get like pretty good at times. A lot of times with these more slice of lifey, ecchi anime, they can like skimp out at the budget on the budget because it's like, oh well, it's showing like ass anyways, so it's gonna get clicks. So we don't need to spend money on the on the animation or the music or whatever. But that doesn't seem to be the case, and I think that's a pretty good thing. I think that's nice that these like smaller, uh, considered like smaller projects, I guess, are taken with a lot more love and care now than they used to be, than they would have been like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I do think that the effort was well placed because there were a lot of pretty funny visual gags throughout the series, I noticed. So, I mean, the fact that they actually took the time and effort to put that animation to do these visual gags, it's appreciated.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think a lot of like, yeah, even with like the ecchi, they have like some complicated stuff, and you see a lot of like in a lot of hentai, you'll see like it'll like cut to, it won't show the animation of like the tentacles and things like that, and it'll just skip to like the girls in bondage or something. And they're not gonna bother to like animate that movement and all that. And I think the fact that they did decide to like go through with a lot of that, it does show, and it does kind of like contribute a little bit to that, like, wait a minute, in some circumstances, in some situations, I think it actually like does better at hentai or at the ecchi than the hentai like tries to do, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I don't actually care for hentai all that much, at least not hentai videos, because I think a lot of times they're just not very good. Like you can get the same effect elsewhere.
How dare you?
I think, if I may, like hentai already knows its audience, so it's for people to relieve themselves. So story is not really an important aspect in hentai. Well, I think what surprised fans, or basically the anime community, for this anime is that it it was out of nowhere. I don't think it was it was like marketed or something. I think it just came out like that, and people like tried it out, and then see that have to like when they actually like watch the whole thing, they expected, oh, just another something kind of like just etchy or something. But then having this the writing with an actual story is what surprised them. So maybe when you put the story in a sense that this anime is like story, good enough of a story, but then have the etchiness first as a hook, but then also as a reward for you to stick to the story. So I think it's also for, because the etchiness, etchy is a way to keep people hooked or staying, like watching the anime. I won't deny that, but for some reason it somehow just works with the plot. When you have the plot to the ecchi as a plot device to move the plot forward in a good way, I don't know. It's just somehow entertaining. Like, I don't need this anime to be a masterpiece, like, objectively, but if it's a masterpiece subjectively, I'm more than satisfied.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's part of that whole like, using ecchi not just like to have it there, but using it as a plot device, like using it as a key part of like the story, like really lends to boosting the engagement of, the audience. It's like with rants, which I will be probably mentioning at least once every single episode from now on. Somehow, in any way I could, it uses like the sex in it like as a, as a part of the plot device, like as a part of the plot to keep it moving forward. And I do see some similarities between like the two main characters are both like sexually motivated. Um and then that, you know, kind of moves with the plot. So it's kind of similar in the way where they kind of both have some kind of goal that they're assigned kind of to do, but they're not really, you know, but it's just like their horniness that drives it.
Yeah, and I'll also say that the etchy elements do play into the parody nature of the show as well. Because, I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable about magical girl stuff, but I do know that oftentimes magical girl shows do tend to be pretty sexualized. And I get, and, you know, Gushing Over Magical Girls just kind of embraces that element. And it says, yeah, this is what this genre is. We're going to be that, but more.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. You know, it's self aware, and I can respect that a lot.
Yeah, I mean there are also a few not fourth wall breaking, but like they kind of press up against the fourth wall every so often. Like they say, "Hey, leave the intros to the TV show," or
Yeah,
yeah,
I
things
mean,
like that.
there is like the also the part which kind of like it pissed me off a little bit, but I'm like I don't know, I kind of just like it really tested the suspension of like disbelief when they were basically like, oh yeah, so it just so happens that when they transform, you can't tell their identities outside of how they transform, and just like the fucking plot hole, like the level of hole in that plot. It's like they have figures of them. You can't like put them against like I don't know some day-to-day person like, you know, that looks exactly the same and just be like, "Oh, that's this person." And it's like how could you not like tell that? I mean, I know, you know, it, like it really tested it, but I was, you know, I think it is a testament that it didn't like really piss me off like that badly, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, I will say I actually had kind of the opposite reaction. I liked that they were kind of acknowledging all the anime bullshit that went into this because I think it's a parody and it kind of knows that this is kind of the stupid crap that a regular magical girl show would do. And even in the first episode, the main character's talking to the little dark mascot thing, and she's asking questions, and he's like, "No, you're applying too much logic to this." Like it 100% knows what it's doing, and it's just saying, "Yeah, we don't care." And I do appreciate the self-aware humor of it. So I mean, maybe it didn't that element of it didn't quite click as well for you, but I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely you know, it definitely like it works. I'm not gonna say it like doesn't work. I think it does work, but there is like a point where I think some people might be turned off a little bit when it gets like hammered too much in their face. Um, but you know, but again, I think for the audience, it's aimed for people who like etchy, and they're not like it's not people coming in with like fucking like monocles and you know and let's look at this let's critique this little thing. I don't know. Look at this. I'm gonna compare this to Shawshank Redemption today.
Yeah,
I
some
don't know.
people will absolutely get filtered by this one.
Yeah, I do think that I do think that could be like a benefit to it though because the fans are much stronger um than not. You know, they're more passionate about it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's one of those ones that kind of has a core a core demographic that they're appealing to, and they're just kind of going all out and saying we're gonna appeal to this narrow group, and we're just gonna do that as well as we can. And you don't see that
Yeah,
a whole lot nowadays because I know everyone understandably wants to make as much money as possible. So a lot of times they will try to appeal to the lowest common denominator and get as many people kind of into it as they can.
I think the last etchy that really did this like that kind of actually like reached that level, that peak, was interspecies reviewers. Probably one of the great one of the great anime, or one of the great ecchis of our generation.
Although I will say, I think that interspecies reviewers almost kind of got lucky, at least when it came to the Western fan base, because
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't hear all that much about it until people got upset over it and got it removed from, what was it? Was it either Crunchyroll or Funimation? They got
it
them to
was
drop it. Yeah, they
Funimation.
got Funimation to drop it, and
Yeah, and
And
then
that was
also,
the
yeah, and then didn't
oh
they upload it to Pornhub?
and also that my anime list issue.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that thing. You know, I'm in complete support of that. I think it should be number one. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be number one.
Me neither.
So yeah,
It was hilarious that everyone just voted my interspace reverse as a 10 out of 10 just so that it
yeah.
can go to number one.
I did that. I voted it like 10 out of 10 too, but also I watched it. I was like one of the few people that watched it like before any of like the drama. I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, yeah, and I actually, you know, what some of these ecchi can do, like interspecies reviewers, and
Yeah.
but I'm not sure if gushing like magical girls can really reach that, where I can actually show that to like one of my friends who like hates anime, and he would be like, "Oh yeah, let's binge this." Like I've had that happen before, and you know, it's not to that level, but I do think there are rarely anime, like, just let alone like ecchi in general, that can like reach that sort of like peak. But I think that this, gushing over magical girls leans more into people who, like, they're not really, I guess, you know yeah, they're really leaning hard into a very specific demographic, where I think interspecies reviewers, like, kind of, I guess, like, is so self-aware of like its anime tropes and whatnot, that people even who aren't like into anime, that will, look down on it, will actually find it funny. So I think, yeah, they are for different audiences.
Yeah. Also, they are both structured a little differently. Like interspecies reviewers had more of kind of a sitcom kind of vibe, where each episode was kind of, you could take them individually for the most part. Whereas Gushing Over Magical Girls is actually kind of pushing a plot line forward. It's not just the funny scenario of the week.
Yeah,
Like
definitely. And I think and I do think, though, personally, in my opinion, I think that if they do a season like 2, and I've only watched until the end of the season, I haven't read beyond it or anything like that. But my fear is that the plot's gonna get in the way too much, and it's gonna be like kind of this hindrance to like kind of the ecchi and some other things. And I think I think it could get in the way a little bit, because it seems to be building up to some kind of, and you can already see this at episode 2. I know, Ads, you haven't um finished past there, but I'm just like, kind of, it's not really a spoiler warning, but basically they leave a lot of room for beyond. And I think, Acid, you mentioned that it does go beyond season 1, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I feel
What's
like that. Oh,
oh,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, what's surprising is the anime adapts the manga. Like, there are several episodes that didn't follow chronologically according to the manga. Like, there are, when I tried to read after the point after the anime ended, like there were several chapters of the manga that were in previous episodes, like before the latest episode. So that was quite intriguing. It's not uncommon, but I just wanted to point it out. Yeah.
Yeah, interspecies reviewers did that too, which I find really interesting. But I do think that a something that I think made High School DxD not really, like, I think it kind of lost a lot of its popularity after the 3rd season, one, because the fourth season took like forever, and two, because I think the plot took too much precedence, and people came for the ecchi, and they kind of saw like less of that and more of like focusing on I don't know, development that there wasn't really much room for, if that makes
I
sense.
think I think the downfall of DxD back in season 3 was due to an adaptation error. Uh, Basically, season 3 was a complete change of plot. Like the story, the screenwriter for season 3 changed the plot of season 3. It's like what was supposed to happen didn't happen, and it happened entirely something else entirely. So that's why the author got pissed, and then he changed studios, because the first 3 seasons was under TNK, and the second season was under Passion. So yeah, that's why they had to refix it. There is an episode 0 of season 4 which had to fix the fuck up of season 3. So
Oh,
yeah, that was the problem with DxD. Right now, like I'm pretty sure DxD fans, if myself included, wants a season 5.
yeah,
Yeah, the author kept on like encouraging us to buy the light novels so that they would have the budget to do season 5, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people already did, also myself included. I've bought all the official light novels. But yeah, that was an adaptation error, so I don't see that yet, because
yeah,
in Gushing Over Magical Girls, because I mean, to be fair, it's only season 1. So
yeah. I'm
it's
just
only 13 episodes.
I'm just scared of a High School DxD repeat, because I just remember, as someone who has not read any of the light novels or anything like that, any of the source material, I just remember that it felt like that the plot like kind of took too much precedence, and there wasn't really like there wasn't really um a development of like, I don't know, the ecchi parts like that people came for didn't really present itself. But yeah, I don't know, I had issues with I had mostly issues. I think season 3 was fine, but I think season 4 was just animated. They nerfed Rias, and I hated that. I think they made her proportions smaller, and I'm very upset.
Just to say, I hate the art style in season 4. That's it.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that was one of my main complaints. But I guess I don't know. That was like so major for me that actually like, I think I think I barely been finished like season 4. But this was back when it came out, and I'm 20, by the way. So, I was fairly like young, but yeah, this was kind of my thing. Like I get into middle school. This is like coming out, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. But yeah, um, but it's been so long, like that if a season 5 comes out of High School, this has become like an interspecies reviewers and High School DxD review. But I'm not upset. I think. We'll go back to Gushing Over Magical Girls in a sec, but yeah, I think that like for a season 5, it's gonna be hard for me to come back, but I'm willing to do it. But buy the visual novels, everyone, or the light novels, the source material for High School DxD. Make sure it comes back. Same thing
At
with
least,
interspecies reviewers.
at least in like unlike in DxD, like at least Gushing Over Magical Girls. Wait, as yeah, or you have watched episode 10, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so at least in Magical Girl, Gushing Over Magical Girls, they actually fucked.
Yeah, yeah. So like literally
So,
getting blue balled for like we're not getting blue balled for 4 seasons. Uh and so
so I mean, it was. I mean, people in general, like over the times recently, people like when watching like all this Yuri stuff, they think like okay, authors are like author is gonna just Yuri bait us or something. So it's like they're not really gonna do it or something. Like for example, Licorice Recoil is one of the most hyped up Yuri anime, and then there was there was several attempts to do it, but only minor approaches. But people absolutely went wild over them. But then you have this anime.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely this is definitely one that like I actually didn't expect them to actually do the Yuri, you know? And I was like, "Oh shit, they actually did it." Like, you know? And
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy the presence of 0 men in the entire
Yeah.
the entire show, and I'm like, "You know what? That makes me happy."
I'm I'm a straight male. I'm like I what but I would fully support Yuri.
I fully support Yuri as oh my god, I forgot what
I don't know why having like these Yuri moments just turns me on.
yeah. Um
For viewers, reference is episode 5 and episode 10.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
So
they had Yuri
yeah.
BDSM starting from episode 1, so I mean,
Yeah, but still they have like that's still kind of like bait-ish. You know, it's not like I don't like it's still like heavy, you know, heavy bait, but like 100% like all the way, you know, like home run. Like that home run shit. Like that's
Exactly.
yeah, that's what finally like I was like, "Oh my god, finally." Yeah.
and I also loved how while that was all happening, you could just see the main character in the corner just giggling like a moron.
Yeah. I love the main
Yeah,
character.
she's so great.
I love
She's
Adze.
adorable. I would honestly think I think this main character Utena is a character that you can self insert to for some reason.
He's
I don't
just
know
like
why.
me for real.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
literally
me for
me.
real. Like episode 10, like these two girls like getting the action, and I'm just watching. Like, I'm just enjoying it. I don't know why. I just have that feeling. I just have that feeling, and I think the author made her that way because the author is also at least based on the parody that ads kept on mentioning. I honestly think that the author genuinely has love for magical girls and just like made Utena as a character that just wants to, you know, deep what depurify them, if that's a word.
Well, what's it called?
spoil, spoil them, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Oh my god, what was it? Oh my god, I have the yeah, like yeah, I guess these I don't know. Yeah, desanitize. Um, yeah, like yeah, like God.
Corrupt.
Yeah, to
Corrupt.
corrupt, defile, to defile.
Yeah. We're
What are
going
the
to the
synonyms
dictionary for
for?
this one.
Yeah, let's look up the dictionary. We're gonna look up synonyms for all you know for defile,
Like,
and we're just gonna list them all. But basically that,
I
yeah,
remember, there was an episode where Utena fought Sayo, right? Ads.
Yeah. I'm bad with names, but that's the blue one, right?
The blue hair magical girl,
Yeah.
the busty one,
Yeah.
the boober.
the biggest one, yeah. They fought solo, right?
Yes.
And then that scene happened.
Yeah,
Okay, honestly, that scene, I was shocked. For one, I was shocked, but it was to be expected actually. Because of how they animated it, they directed the scene. It was kind of expected. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna expect this. But then I was still shocked when it happened. But then I didn't expect what happens afterwards.
yeah.
And
It
that
went. Sorry, go ahead.
and that gave me a lot more appreciation to Utena, the MC's character. A lot more appreciation.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just like, you know what? This MC is effing great.
Yeah, I agree. She's actually a much deeper character than you would initially expect. Like again, a
Yeah.
lot of what's going on is trope subversion and playing off of the magical girl stuff. But it's like, the big thing is she does, want to bully these magical girls, but it is out of love for them because she just enjoys putting them in these different situations and watching their reactions because she's just obsessed with them. So
Yeah.
it's a very weird dynamic for a villain protagonist to have, but it's an intriguing one, and it does kind of make you want to keep watching.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it was to say it's a contradicting character because she has that kind of two sides.
Mhm.
Personally, to me, I think she is a true sadist.
Mhm.
A true sadist because I think a sadist, like by definition, they enjoy when they cause harm to others, right? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know. Okay, cause harm to others, but I think it's even more amplified if the receiving party does not like the treatment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would say that's like a true sadist kind of thing.
Yeah. I think something that this anime does, which is like there's like the there's like where you expect it. How do I say it? Like there's like the subversion of expectations where it goes farther than you think it'll go, right?
Yeah.
Where you go like, okay, this is an anime, it's not hentai, so it's gonna stop here, right?
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh no, it's like, okay, so I guess it'll go maybe a little bit further than that. But then it goes like a step beyond, right? So it'll just be like, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna, you think that I'm gonna stop here? No, I'm gonna go here. Wait, no, you think I'm gonna stop there? Oh no, I'm gonna go here. Especially with that scene with that the scene with Saya in their solo battle. They're um that you know what I'm talking about, guys.
Yeah,
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 of course.
everyone does.
Yeah, that scene is like, oh shit. And yeah.
Yeah. And
If
I will
anything else,
go ahead.
you're saying that's
No, I was just saying that scene just made me realize how funny it is, how just these normal everyday things that are around them get turned into BDSM implements, like modeled after like real things that people use. Like they turned the playground ride thingy into a wooden horse.
yeah, exactly. And as I said, the direction of that scene was something that it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen because how the director directed that scene is like building up to the expectation that you're going that that you definitely know is gonna happen. Uh, what happens afterwards is something that you would not expect because because it in on the surface level it's kind of contradicting of what Utena's character is. At least that's how I see it.
Well, the way I kind
Yeah.
of see it is she actually Utena kind of really reminds me of, this is going to sound like a weird at first, but bear with me. Like, have you guys played the Arkham games?
Yes.
She reminds me of that version of the Joker, where she she's not like she enjoys the dynamic she's got with them and enjoys continuing to play the game with them. And I think when the other girl kind of wanted to actually join up with her and kind of broke down, she's like, no, that's not what we do. We're enemies. We gotta keep doing this whole thing we're doing. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
think
agree. I think there was one comic scene where the Joker there was I think it was Scarecrow or something that actually unmasked Batman, and then the Joker was like turned off because because the Joker had fun in not knowing who Batman was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
I think it's something like having fun in the game, in the journey, but not in the destination. So I
Yep.
think that character is like something like that. Like they don't care about destination. They just want to just to enjoy the moment. They live the moment, something like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I feel like she enjoys her role in the magical girl story, essentially.
Yeah, and I think that even with like even I feel like even if they knew their identities and like became friends or something, you know, like the villains and the heroes, then even they would still be like fighting. They would still be going at it. I think it's that kind of like anime, you know. It would I feel like it would do that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think the story is doing that already because like not in their outfits they are enemies, but no, not in their outfits they're friends, but in their outfits they're enemies. So like kind of frenemies. They are frenemies, but they don't know the identities of each other.
Yeah, but I think even if they did know the identities, the dynamic would stay like mostly the same actually. And I know that kind of sounds weird, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Maybe
go ahead, go ahead.
no, I just want to say maybe is that something like if the magical girls will be like have that mindset of I can fix her.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No,
I do think the dynamic
definitely.
is gonna shift a bit moving forward. I mean, again, due to various issues, not least of which being that I work weekends, I only was able to watch up to episode 10, but I can already kind of tell that things are shifting, especially since they came out with like a real antagonist in Lord. So that like I mean I can tell they're gonna kind of shift towards an alliance where they're gonna kind of team up together. Like just unless they completely subvert everything, based on my knowledge of how stories work, that's kind of what they're leading towards. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if the dynamic is not strictly antagonistic once that's resolved.
Yeah, I think that well, with season I think with season 2, I'm going to be careful with how I say this as to not like say as to not like spoil stuff, but basically yeah, I think um it's still tied like yeah, it's I feel like that it's going to be how do I say it? Like it's not going to be disconnect like it's going to be one kind of continuous like big bad I think like throughout for a while, but I think I don't know. Did anything I say make sense at all?
I think so, but that's just because I've like over time learned to speak Dvovsky.
Mm,
Well,
true, true.
at least from my point of view, I can't say much based on season one. To be honest, I would prefer the dynamic right now, the character interactions, to be as they are right now for the time being, just for a while, and until like try to stay in this state for a while before changing it. At
Yeah.
least that's how I prefer it. Because right now, I mean, I'm just so absorbed into the comedy. This anime is gave me more laughs than it should, than it should have, which is very I'm very grateful for. It gave
Yeah,
me a very good time.
yeah. I had a great time watching just because this is one of those animes that has a lot of anime girl noises that they kind of just insert for comedic effect. Like the first scene where we see Kiwi outside of her transformation side, like when she transfers into Uteme's class and she just fucking tackles her. That all that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, that always I always find that funny, even when it really shouldn't be. And there was so much of that in this show, and I had a really good time listening to it.
Yeah.
Me
Ads
too.
Oh, go ahead, Asid.
No. To add to that, always give gotta always give credit to the voice actors.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I could tell, like you know, as someone who has I guess like trying like sometimes on the side, like I'm practicing voice acting a little bit, like those things that we call efforts, like the ah ooh, like they really
Yeah.
focus in on that, and like they were really well done, and even like the you know, like with the fake singing and things like the whole like you know like there were a lot of like really challenging things to voice act, like things like breaking the fourth wall a little bit, like I don't know, as you described it, like what
You're like
like
pressing up against it. Yeah.
yeah, pressing up against it to like carry that tone over into you know into a voice, to not like actually break the fourth wall, but to you know kind of get there. That takes a lot as well. So I think the voice actors did a phenomenal job of that. And I think yeah, it's like really interesting. But I did want to ask, Ads, have you seen Interspecies of yours?
Yes, we watched it together.
Oh shit. Yeah,
Oh
we did.
no!
Oh no.
Oh
I
no!
remember now.
You actually forgot Dvovsky?
I've seen it like I've seen it a million times, but I was asking like I was like, yeah, I was like just in case.
Yeah, like I remember because I know you bugged me a bunch of times to end up watching it with you. So eventually I did. We watched it over Discord, and I
Yes,
could
yes.
still very distinctly remember one time we were probably about 8 episodes in, and it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm like, I'm dying. I gotta stop for now.
Oh my god.
Very good.
I yeah, I make you know, I have a way of putting people through suffering. You know, the main character is just like me. I'm a sadist too. I put I put ads through watching interspecies viewers through what is it, like you said, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
See, I just do that. I have that kind of that unique Dvovsky energy, I guess.
Did you do the same for redo of Healer?
Oh, redo of Healer. I mean, I watched that as it came out. I I oh ooh I don't want to get. I'm gonna get shot. I really liked redo of Healer. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, I expected it to be a normal, like I expected it to be a normal anime, but then when I saw it came out in hentai websites, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I wonder. So I actually think this is. I wonder if this is gonna start coming out on like H anime and things like that, and other like hentai sites as well. Um, but yeah, like yeah, it's gonna be interesting, like seeing that. If an anime comes out on a hentai site, that's when you know it's like that. That's when it's at that really at that like I can't believe it's not hentai level. But then it
Overflow.
yes, overflow. But oh, I
Oh,
mean yeah, but overflow is no, but overflow wasn't like aired on TV, right?
I I'm pretty sure it came out in one of the totally legal websites that I usually frequent.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, likewise. But I don't think it aired on TV. It was all like just you know, it was all on just like you know, those totally legal websites that we watch. I I didn't say H anime. I sorry if I said H anime or any or whatever any other hentai site. I that was just like a slip of tongue. I meant to say insert I don't know, official way to watch hentai here. But yeah,
No,
but when it
we'll just do the
appears,
anime
yeah.
thing where we bleep out half a syllable.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the
Oh
way,
no. Yeah.
speaking of TV, Gushing Over Magical Girls is aired on Japanese TV, is it not?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, that was
yeah,
interspecies reviewers was too.
yeah. Well, there's censored versions of all the episodes.
Yeah, and we got the uncensored versions, which
But
is
how?
great.
But still, the nature of the thing. How are you gonna censor like BDSM or those very agel faces or something?
Well, if you watch like in hentai, even like because even like on those even like hentai that's released like in Japan, it'll still be censored. They'll still put like the like stuff is still going to be censored, but you don't like, I don't know, the laws are really weird with like how to put with mosaics and whatnot,
Yeah.
and how you put
Um,
um like you can put a bunch of like bars over a dick and you can like still make out like the shape and everything and like
yeah,
all the characteristics, but oh
every
wait, it's
every
completely legal.
Well, the thing is,
every doujinshi ever.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
from what I've heard from people who live or have lived in Japan, it's one of those laws where nobody really agrees with it anymore. Nobody really has like a strong desire to keep it there. But at the same time, nobody, especially nobody in politics, wants to be the person pushing to change it because they don't want to be known as the porn politician.
Oh yeah, no,
So it's one
definitely.
of those things that's in limbo. It's like, yeah, they're kind of pushing the barrier of what's legal and what's not by technically censoring it, but kind of not really. But it's one of those things where nobody actually cares enough about it to really strictly enforce it.
Yeah, like interspecies reviewers being on TV, being
Yeah.
aired. See, I mean, I wonder if I'm not really familiar with like I know interspecies reviewers. I know that actually elicited a response. If I recall, like I forgot what TV station like actually did pull it from the air as it was airing. I could be completely wrong in this, by the way. And um yeah, I could be completely wrong in this. But yeah, I believe interspecies reviewers was taken off the air in Japan at some point. But I wonder if gushing over magical girls. I haven't heard about anything about it like having the same response. But yeah, when I mentioned I was going to be watching this to like my Discord groups and stuff like that, I got very mixed reactions. So yeah, I definitely think and it's interesting to I don't think that it's as mixed in Japan, and I think Japan is very unique where I feel like that they treat like sexual stuff with more like, you know, I guess the West takes it a lot more seriously um than Japan does. And like, Japan takes it more as like comedy and they don't take it as seriously. It's like how the West is like uh more okay with violence than Japan, but Japan is more okay with like sex than with violence.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be
Um,
surprised if you can kind of trace that back to the histories of the two countries. Like, here in the US, when the Puritans came over, that kind of actually had a pretty strong, lasting cultural influence. Because, even then they were like, can't show ankles, can't dance, all that stuff. And I think a bit of that kind of carried over. Whereas I think, Japan is more influenced by the Shinto religion, where they didn't have as much of a prohibition on or as much of an emphasis on chastity as they do here.
yeah, it's really interesting, I think, to study. If the audience wants to study on their own, yeah, definitely like the impact that um, that religion and their like environment and whatnot has impacted like their views on on these media. And I think it's definitely something that will kind of I guess like open people's eyes a bit, and to be less ethnocentric, for both sides, if that makes sense. Kind of go into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the culture of the US and of Japan is just so wildly different that I think it's just inherently an interesting thing to learn about.
Yeah, and I think that I think in general the West, especially the US, yeah, we look at it through like a very strong filter.
Mhm.
And it is and you can enjoy media in different ways. Like I forgot what like Japanese some anime are just like absurdly popular here and just like not popular in Japan. And it's just because like Westerners just like that more or see that through their filter inadvertently and more positively than people in Japan with like their filter, their point of view as to like what makes a certain media good, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like every so often you'll hear about like countries all over the world will have an author or a filmmaker who's really popular in that country but not popular in their home country.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting to see like the kind of unintended effects
Mhm.
that certain media have like in other countries. And like sometimes that like the author might not even aim to elicit like some kind of reaction that ended up making that thing like absurdly popular. And it's just like, oh, it just so happens to like have this one property, I don't know, that makes it crazy popular. Or like I think in the West, it's I think this is I mean, I know okay, High School DxD was pretty big in Japan, but I think it got big in the West not for the same reason that it got big in Japan. Um because I think in Japan it was a lot less like controversial. And it mostly was like it got famous a lot of it off of like kind of the comedy and just the pure nature of it. But in the West it got popular because I think in part due to the controversy. And it's like, oh, this is like this very controversial anime. And then because of that, a lot of people started watching it. And of course, a lot of us stayed for, the good comedy and some of the good writing that's in it, that's present.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Streisand effect is very, very real. Like, it happens all the time. Again, like with interspecies reviewers, I believe it would not be nearly as popular as it is if it weren't for people getting outraged. I mean, that's the reason I first learned about it is because people are all upset about it. So yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me that, especially back when anime was much more niche in the West than it is now, that it's the stuff that kind of makes waves that got because it was stuff like that that got controversial, and it was also the stuff that got localized by like the big companies, like the Four Kids stuff, which like I know
Four
they're
kids.
infamous, but like they did bring, even though their translations were just so horrible, they brought a lot of attention to a lot of the big series. And I'll be honest, the Pokemon anime is to this day the one anime that I will only watch dubbed,
Yeah.
just because it has such that connection for me from my childhood. Like even just the voices, I connect with those voices more than I connect to the Japanese voices. And
Yeah.
and even some of the lines, even though I'm sure they were not translated remotely accurately, I still think of when Brock is holding the frying pan up. He's like, I'm turning this frying pan into a drying pan. That still gets me every time.
Yeah, I think back in those early days though, you have like these these like, the translators are given like literally I don't know, like zero direction.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, I guess I can, I guess this can maybe work. And they kind of do their own thing. And then you have like some, I don't know, you have some weird ass like, you have some weird ass like translation
Yeah.
that pops out,
Yeah.
and
One day we got to do
makes it good.
ghost stories on the podcast.
Oh my god, only the dub,
Yes,
only the dub.
the dub. Yes.
Yes. Um. Yeah, that could be a lot of fun.
I absolutely. That was one I even showed my dad the ghost stories dub. Not the whole thing, obviously, just bits and pieces of it. And he had a pretty good time watching it. And my dad's like a 70-year-old man. So he's not exactly the anime watching type.
Yeah. I do think it definitely like there is like a definite like value to be, I don't know. It really is something when anime can still, appeal to people in that like demographic. Yeah. I think it's really interesting. Yeah, I've seen it's interesting. I've seen a lot of like much older people that I wouldn't expect like be into anime, and I show them anime and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is like pretty good." And they're more like impartial to it. I feel like it's this like anime phobia, like oh my god, this is gonna sound so stupid, but anime phobic people
Yeah.
are between the ages typically of let me say I think like I'm gonna go like 25 to 35, and I'm not sure why, but I feel like I don't know, like outside of that age range, it's like people are typically more chill with it. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me because I'll be honest, a lot of online weebs are just fucking weird. So I can understand that kind of being off-putting to somebody looking from the outside in.
yeah,
But
and
I
I
mean,
I think that yeah,
yeah, I think there's also still a lingering stigma against animation in general in the West, just because
oh
it's
yeah,
it's traditionally associated with children's media. Because the
Yeah.
first big animators were the were Disney and and Looney Tunes essentially.
Yeah.
So and it's not
oh
until relatively recently that we in the West started actually having animation focused towards adults.
yeah.
Yeah.
Acid. Actually, I was gonna. Oh, did you want to say something? Sorry, first.
Yeah, I wanted to include a story of mine. Not a story, just an occurrence. When I was one day I drove my mom to go grocery shopping. So linked to the car is Bluetooth, so I played my anime music just to vibe to it, right? I believe I was listening to Oshinoko or something, so I was like singing along to the music, and then my mom just randomly said, "Isn't anime for kids?" And I was like, uh. All the flashbacks of all the depressed anime, all the emotional moments, or the death, the gore just came out immediately into my head, like those flashbacks kind of thing. And I was like, "Mom, you've been into my room. Can you honestly say that anime is for kids?"
Yeah,
I will
I
say the main theme to Oshinoko is a banger.
yeah, it is pretty good.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
um, but Acid, I wonder how has the could we say where you're from?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're from you said I'm sorry. I want to say oh my god, if I get this wrong, I'm going to get so mad. Malaysia?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
country nobody knows of.
Oh my god. Okay. But has the how is like anime perceived over there compared to like I don't know, Germany?
uh, well, in the German sense, I mean, anime is pretty much everywhere, whether you like it or not. So, anime haters, go fuck yourselves. The thing is, Malaysia is. We had a very pro Japan kind of view. Uh, One of our previous prime ministers, he's like he had a policy of look to the east, kind of policy, and this policy is basically look up to Japan. And so we had like a lot of there are the anime influence. Therefore, the anime influence is very heavy.
Oh, okay.
So we have like frequent, like in a year you can have like a lot, like maybe at least is considered a lot to us, and then probably around 10 anime conventions held every year. So you can,
Oh,
yeah, you can frequently go,
that's
but
nice.
not
In
That's
California,
neat.
we have like oh, sorry, go ahead, ads.
yeah,
No, I just
yeah.
said that's neat.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
California, we have like 30 plus a year. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
but that's because you guys you capable. Like for us, I think it's more on like I don't know. I mean, it's considered a lot to us. So to have
Yeah.
that in a year,
Well, yeah.
um,
I mean, Malaysia's not like a super huge country. Like I
no,
mean,
it's not.
I think yeah, California has a bajillion people in it, so it does make sense to have more conventions. And
Yep.
in a sense, I am lucky to just conveniently have family,
Mm.
like exactly where all of the anime conventions are. So if I want to, I can just like go stay with some other family, like up north, or worst case scenario, I can like go down to San Diego and get like go to a train and get a hotel for like another convention. Like we're gonna have hentai matsuri, like literally a hentai convention.
Well,
In
that's fortunate for you guys, and actually, I envy that side of you, like US, because the anime conventions here in Malaysia, like mainly most of not if not all are held within the capital. So because the other states they're not really that liberal or something, and because Malaysia we have three main races, like one the Malays, which are are most of the population, and then we have the Chinese and Indians.
Mhm.
So the majority of the Chinese are within the capital. So that's why like Malaysia is an Islamic country, and the main religion is Islam, and all if most if not all of the Malays are Muslim.
Mhm.
And, the well, we have a very there are two sides there. There are those conservatives, and there are those liberals. So
Yeah, I forgot what the two like. There's like two main branches of Islam, or is it like three? I think there's
there are two branches. Yeah, we have
yeah,
the
two
Sunni
branches.
and Shia, and
Yes, yes.
personally, yeah, the in Malaysia we're mostly Sunni, and I yeah I don't personally care. I just follow the basic religion. I don't go deep into it,
Mhm.
and also because of the conservative side, because there is an Islamic party within trying to go for the government, and nobody likes them. Nobody likes them. Nobody,
Yeah,
not even the Malays that are liberals like them. But
yeah,
they are conservatives. That's why in other states you don't have anime conventions, because anime is seen as a like when you have all these hot girls like half naked and all that with pretty boobs, ass, and all that. Yeah, it goes against like the views of Islam of trying to be pure and all that. Personally,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
give a shit.
And that's actually something really interesting, and I didn't know that as a as a ignorant foreigner, I had no idea that like it was majority Islam, and that's really interesting because and that's surprising, really surprising then that you guys have like 10 anime conventions a year, and that is like a lot given the dynamic of everything.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and the ones that attend are the liberals, of course.
well, yeah,
So
I would
the ones
I would
that are
yeah.
not extremists. Yeah, they're not extremists. Like we enjoy entertainment. We enjoy uh, content medium that was given to us
This
by
reminds
the.
Yeah. Sorry, this reminds me of every year at Anime Expo. So we have the Anime Expo like in Los Angeles. It is like one of the biggest anime conventions in the world and has like some of the largest like Japanese media presence. So like anime will get like announced, like lots of anime will get announced at AX for like the first time. So you will have like those reveal trailers where everyone goes like crazy. But like outside, you have these like you have these Christian protesters, and it's just very funny. Like, I have lots of Christian friends, and I have nothing against any folks of any religion.
Mhm.
But I do find it funny how they're just like putting signs up like that that like anime is satanic and stuff like that. So you'll find that at like at those like really at AX, like you'll find a group of like religious protesters outside,
Yeah.
and it's pretty interesting.
DXD is satanic, all right.
But
Yeah,
like, how fucking funny would it be if the Antichrist turns out to be an anime girl?
yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Ria's Grimoire turns to becomes 3D.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not that we have cosplayers, right?
Yeah. Yep.
The thing is, like, anime art style is pretty much becoming the 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 mainstream or something. Like, I saw in Reddit one time of r/Malaysia, there was an anime drawing girl of Malaysia represented as an anime girl. Yes. And I was like, yeah, that's the state of what at least Malaysians online would be. Yeah. And if you just enjoy something, then personally, okay, like if you want to talk about Islam and all that, from my perspective, I just follow the basic rule because a lot of the things are up to interpretation, and it's how you interpret it, and it's how you believe in that interpretation. So
Yeah.
some people may interpret it very extremely, so that's why it's like it can become a problem. To me, Malaysia is that liberal enough that we have an LGBT community here.
Hmm.
So because LGBT is frowned upon by the Islamic society in general.
Yeah.
So we are
Yeah.
that lenient enough to have an LGBT community here.
Yeah.
And
From what I'm aware of, like as someone, I'm a religion nerd. Like I'm just like, I really enjoy talking about this, and it's just like yeah, it's interesting how like certain like many countries will embrace enlightenment values as and kind of blend that with the religion to create a unique culture within like their society, and how that kind of impacts how what kind of media is liked over there, and how it's presented and things like that. And I think yeah, definitely Malaysia's a really interesting case of
my
that.
mindset, at least the mindset that I hope Malaysians will come to, is that I believe in my religion, and but I can do uh whatever I feel that it's fun for me, as long as it doesn't heavily contradict the religion. And also that if someone else is contradicting my beliefs, it's not my problem.
Yeah, and
It's their life. They're entitled to their life. So for example, I have when I was in Germany, I have several LGBT friends. I have several lesbian friends, gay friends. I make friends with them because they're people. They're still people. They're normal people. They're fun to interact with. But and they don't impose their beliefs on me. I don't impose mine on them. So
yeah,
we have uh what our border was it our borders with each other, but we can still befriend each other. That that's how I would actually like. So when uh when I'm a Muslim, and then I was actually kind of expecting like people that actually watch my channel to like call me out being a Muslim, but I'm doing a degenerate channel talking about sex and all that. I was actually expecting, but surprisingly, I didn't get any.
yeah,
So I was like, so I'm actually grateful for that. Uh, because how open minded. Like if you're open minded, if you try to put yourself in other shoes, then you would be much more understanding.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something we can all learn. And thank you so much for being that, like, you are a good representation of Malaysia in I think if I would choose you, you are the ambassador now of anime
Not
Yeah.
really,
Well,
no.
I mean,
Malaysia.
I feel like any Muslim who lives in Germany kind of has to be a little bit of open minded just because of all the sausage and beer there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the alcohol there, like Germany is their main drink is beer, whether you like it or not. And
yeah.
then their main meat is pork. The two things a Muslim cannot eat or drink.
Yeah.
So, but but a lot of Muslims like migrated there regardless. So
Yeah. y- Yeah.
it's not really a problem.
Yeah, I think me personally, I've had like some of the best like interactions with people I've had were like people of the LGBTQ plus community. And like I've just it's like yeah, they have typically been like some of the most like open-minded, like caring, boundary respecting people, and which you wouldn't like from kind of how people have like I guess lots of reactions to like you have like the quote unquote like the I don't know. I guess yeah, I find that LGBTQ plus people are generally like pretty cool with these things that a lot of people would typically think would be, like offensive. If that makes sense. So like, they're I find them, I have those are like the some of the best like I don't know. Yeah, a lot of the best interactions I have with people regarding like anime and whatnot.
Honestly, I think people just taking offense, like exaggerating stuff, is because of online stuff like social media, something like that. Like Twitter, for
Yeah.
example. Twitter is like a shithole of things that people can easily get offended by, or try to offend others or something. So Twitter is like a it's like a chaotic social media, which is one of the reasons why I don't use Twitter. I just refuse to use it. I mean, sometimes I would just log on just to see what the visual novel YouTubers just tweet. For example, Bruce or August. Like, yeah, they would just like tweet something. I was like, oh, okay, and then done. I rarely go onto Twitter. And
Yeah, like
the only things I would go onto Twitter for is art, and that's it.
yeah, I think social media has definitely like is definitely this thing when and people have to understand this when going into this. Twitter people are not real people. You go to anyone out in the real world and you will like talk with them and they're not going to literally like echo those, Twitter opinions because
Yeah,
again, those people I know it's going to sound weird, but those people aren't real. I think so, social media really it just picks the most like extreme of both sides, like getting, of how they're getting offended at each other or whatever. And I think it makes people, inadvertently, because it's how these social media companies make money. That's how they attract attention.
yeah.
And therefore, that's how they attract, advertisements and whatnot um, to their platform. But I think it's definitely worth noting that an unintended effect is that it makes people believe that this is like the general consensus of like one side is that they're extremely offended by the other side or or vice versa and vice versa, and then when you actually go talk to the people that you think are being offended by this one thing are just like really chill and vice versa. It's just like you
Mm.
you have normal conversations with these people, if that makes sense, my
Yeah,
Dvovskyism.
yeah, and I will also say that somehow Twitter manages to attract the most profoundly stupid people, like more so than other social media platforms. Like I use Twitter, and I've every so often I will stumble across something, and you wonder how this person manages to tie their shoes every day.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't know. I probably it's like something like cloud chasing or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really uh, it's one of the things of all time. I'll say that. But yeah, well, we kind
But what?
of we went a lot of places. What anime were we talking about again?
What magical girl? Yeah, we had a topic change. I do wonder, like, even in the topic of like internet personality, like, I don't know if it's a good thing that if you have a internet personality as a content creator, but then you also have that personality in as yourself amongst friends.
Mhm.
Like, personally, to be honest, I don't have a friend, an in real life friend, like close friend that I've met with face to face, that have the same interests as I do. Not yet. Never. Not yet. I'm thinking that I'm the only one that has this kind of preference, like this entertainment.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to meet a Rants fan, even where I'm
And
at.
that's why one of the reasons also why I made that YouTube channel to make on visual novels is to like express myself, and hoping that I could make one, meet one, even if it's not in person. And uh, I don't know, like when I meet my in real life friends, I have to like suppress my
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
feel I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I can't talk about Rants every 30
I,
seconds. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
I
At
can
the moment,
definitely get
at the
that.
moment I try to talk about visual novels, they'll be like, "What is that?" And I feel so sad hearing that. I feel it's a very niche thing. Yeah, it's a very niche thing. So that's why I try to cope with it by playing some gacha games, because gacha is a more big industry, and people tend to know more. More people tend to know about it.
Yeah.
But visual novels is still very niche. Anime, people would know. My parents would know what anime is. It's to the extent they're already that big. But visual novels, they're much more smaller.
Yeah.
And
But
also like ecchi is also small, so yeah, I can't really talk about it.
Yeah,
Or
but
maybe because people are shy to express them about it, to share about it. Because I understand the feeling of like, oh, if I were to say like, oh, with a normal normie anime friend that just not watches like normal stuff, and then I would say, oh, have you watched Gushing over Magical Girls?
yeah.
I
Ads,
was like, oh,
you wanted to say something?
oh, I
Sorry.
was just saying that is one of the cool things about the being in an online space like this, or for how like Acid and I both do content creation, where we will have our opinions on something. We can kind of have a place to express them, and the people who resonate with that can find it. So like again, the people who are around me, again, when I talk about the stuff I talk about online, people's eyes tend to glaze over, whether it's for the the degenerate stuff where
yeah,
the average person just isn't involved, or if it's for the more in-depth writing stuff that I like to talk about and most people just don't give a shit.
yeah.
However, I talk about it online, and I'll people from around the world, if they're interested in it, they can end up finding it. And it's a cool dynamic about the internet that I do
It's nice
appreciate.
to be part of a community, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
to
definitely.
know
And
that to know that you're not actually alone.
Yes.
You may be alone in that country, but not in the world.
Yes.
yeah, and I think that's definitely I think over time because of things like Discord that again, which it is funny, like, Discord is looked down upon, like, like you have you have like the tropes of people who use Discord, but then I think in the long term it's actually going to be a benefit to the perception of how like weebs are portrayed, because um you know because we're being portrayed less and less as these like super lonely like basement dwellers, but that's literally just because we don't have anyone to like share our interests with. And now that we have these communities, I think now that we all kind of feel a little less lonely,
Yeah,
and we're just happier in general. And I think uh you know like people definitely see, I guess, like, people can tell if you're like from the outside, if you're like a more lonely person or a more like, or a less lonely person, and that kind of, and if they're tied, like, they have a lot of interest in one specific thing that nobody else does, and they seem lonely, then that's gonna, and so many other people are like that, then it's gonna really, like, for example, with anime, like people who like anime in the West have been like treated like shit, like for the past, I don't know, I would say like 15 years. There's definitely, I think the people, what I did mention though, when people outside of the age range of like 25 to 35, plus or minus like 5 years, or plus minus like 3 years or something like that. I don't know, put a little curve in the middle, a little bell curve in the middle. But yeah. And because those are the people who were like on the internet, kind of when, yeah, like the kind of origin of the beginning of the internet, but when anime wasn't popular, right? And seeing those people make them more like, I guess, yeah, like anime weebophobic.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a decent amount younger than I am, so you probably don't remember this, but gaming pretty much went through the exact same process.
Yes, I do
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
still.
back in the day, gamers were again the lonely, awkward people that everyone kind of made fun of until
Yeah.
eventually gaming kind of became a very established had an established place in the culture. And
Oh yeah, I
now
definitely,
and now
yeah.
video games are bigger than Hollywood.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I'm not that young where it's like non-existent, but I definitely experienced that a lot less than a lot of other people. And I'm grateful for that a little bit. But where I was still able to see it, to see it, so that I could know how it was like, but not to the point where it could have affected me. If that makes sense, because I lean very heavily into the interests that I have. So I think that if I were to have gone into video games and like anime and stuff, if I was born a few years earlier, I think I would have had the potential to come out a lot worse than I did, because of the whole societal acceptance factor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got kind of lucky in that regard because I found a couple kids when I was in elementary school who were also into video games. And so I was able to actually have that experience. You know how I don't know if you had this, but when Pokemon was like the thing all the kids were doing, where you would kind of trade rumors at school. You would have the people would basically just make shit up and tell them that XYZ is possible in the Pokemon games. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's a very unique experience that I'm glad I got to experience, even though, again, I know I had people who were either lying to me or repeating lies that they were told. But even now, still, like, I still remember one of my friends telling me that there was a way to get a gun in Pokemon Emerald.
Yeah, I think I was around for like near the end of that because my childhood games were black and white.
Okay.
So it's kind of the tail end of that, before everything that was like DS,
Yeah, it's like even
Um,
that feels like a divide because again, my thing as a kid was the Game Boy Advance.
yeah.
So like it's almost like because I associate the DS with like a completely different stage in my life because I was like
Yep.
I was I was elementary school when the Game Boy Advance was big, and then I think I was in middle school when the DS came out.
Damn, that's oh wow, that really puts that makes me feel like a
Yeah,
little small child.
yeah. Again, it still fucks me up that you are younger than my little sister.
Yes, I'm like your little brother. Oh, yep. 10 years ago, I was you were 9. How old are you? I'm sorry.
I'm 27.
You're 27. Yeah, you were 17 and I was 10.
Yeah. It's like I was a camp counselor. Not 10 years ago. I was like 7 or 8 years ago. I was a camp counselor,
You would be
and
counseling
yeah,
me.
yeah, I could have been your counselor, age-wise at
Yeah.
least.
I'm doing like an anime podcast with one of my camp counselors, like 7 years later. It's kind of like that. Yeah. But
Anime, it's not. I don't know if it's that looked down badly. Even when I was in like primary school, like when I was under 10 or something. Like I think a lot of us watched like at least Naruto, so everyone knew because it aired in the official TV, like the official government program. So Naruto was actually aired, so a lot of people, at least the kids, would watch. So by then, when we had like in between classes, we had breaks to eat. Several kids just did like fun stuff, just like doing imaginary Rasengan and Chidori and just charged at each other.
that's
So
nice.
yeah, so I mean, it actually depends on the region and what the government just gives you. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, we don't really have government programming in the US. Like I mean, okay, we have PBS, but that's literally
Yeah,
it.
it's not, and that's
Yeah.
not even a government
It's
program.
publicly funded, yeah.
It's funded by the government, but it's not run by the
Yeah.
government.
Well, it's publicly funded. It's not
Yeah.
like it's actually, yeah, it's not really affiliated with the government, but it's really interesting because yeah, like in school, if you were to like talk about you like anime, oh my god, like in middle school, if you were to say, I mean, like I had a pretty like, again, Adze, you're pretty lucky that you got into anime way later.
Yeah.
But when you would say like I'm into anime, people will fucking like you get looked at like differently. It's like it's kind of yeah, it's like I will literally, and I don't like making this expression, but it is true. It is like it was literally like a fucking oppressed group where I grew up, because it's like you say you like anime and you are genuinely going to like not like be able to get like friends and shit in school, and that's like absolutely terrible. It's like you're just like kind of stuck. Yeah, you're like stuck. Oh, that guy likes anime, you know? It's like, oh my god.
Weeb
But
rights
yeah,
now.
yeah. But
my
now
case,
they're all watching Attack on Titan.
yeah, my case it was different. I will always tell the story of how I got into anime. I think Ads knows. I don't know if I've shared it to you yet.
I'm not sure.
You may
No,
have.
you haven't. But go
Yeah,
ahead, have fun. Go at it.
I mean, yeah, as I said, we watched Naruto. So I had like a computer, like small computer, where you actually download the anime and you can watch it. So I was watching it in a place, a building where you would do prayer. It's not a mosque. It's more like a mini mosque.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
like a
like
mini mosque.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Because every school in Malaysia will have one,
okay.
except for because the Muslim students have to go pray. All right, so this mini mosque, I was just like chilling there. I don't. Well, my childhood life wasn't really that exciting because I didn't have that many friends. I just like mainly just stick to myself. And then I do have several close friends, and I'm still friends with them now, but they're not really that into anime. So I was just like just chilling by myself in the mini mosque, just watching Naruto, and then one random classmate just came up to me and they just say, "Oh, are you we watching Naruto? Oh, so, are you into anime too?" And I was like, "What is anime?"
That's funny.
Yeah, I was just watching the thing. I just thought it was a cartoon because the term for that was a cartoon. So yeah, so it's like, oh, you watch that thing you're watching is called anime. It's from Japan. And then the next thing was that, you know what, I'm waiting for one of my favorite series to be adapted. And then I asked what, and then he said High School DxD, and I was like,
Oh my god.
keep in
Oh
mind
my god.
this was in 2012, okay? So
Incredible.
2012, 13, I don't remember, but yeah, it was during that time. It was to be adapted to come out. I was like, oh, High School DxD, okay, okay. So I was like, uh, I went back, searched it out, and then watched the first episode, and then the story unfolds from there. Yeah, so
Incredible.
I'm happy to say that my first official anime is High School DxD, and it was done in a mini mosque.
Oh yeah, funnily enough, I don't think I've told this story either. High School DxD was also my first anime that I watched. Because I watched Dragon Ball Z with my friend as a kid, and I didn't know that it was called anime until later. And then when I was told about anime, I was going through a big horny phase, and I was like, "What is the top 10?" I remember like top 10 sexy anime. I would look up on
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah, exactly.
and it was like High School DxD. Oh, I need to watch that one, and then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't half bad."
I was
Uh,
like,
so
oh,
yeah,
it wasn't happening. Like the first episode is like, I don't remember. Like the one of the first lines was, "Oh, I want to touch some boobs or something." I was like, I was like, yep, this is the anime for me now.
yes. Incredible. I love anime.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It seems like most of the weebs I end up meeting have some sort of story like that as to how they kind of got into everything. And then meanwhile, there's me who didn't get into any of this until I was already an adult. So I like, even with all the visual novel people I talk to, most of them got into visual novels through anime. So it's always weird to hear those stories because I cannot relate because I got into anime from visual novels, which again nobody else does that. I have not met another person who's done that yet.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like I could not I could not imagine
Yeah, well, I
like
mean, it
I
was,
mean,
doing that.
and it was basically pure luck because when I remember it was 2016, and I was kind of browsing the internet. It was kind of during the phase where, you know, I very much enjoyed any kind of trolling and shit posts that I could find online. I just kind of enjoyed that culture, and I remember somebody online in some forum somewhere referenced the cripple dating sim made by 4chan. I'm just like, this sounds hilarious. So then I downloaded Kanto Shoujo, and uh, before long I realized, oh, this isn't a shitpost, but I actually really like this. So over the course of probably a few weeks, I ended up reading the entirety of Kanto Shoujo, and from there I'm like, okay, what is this thing called? Oh, it's a visual novel, and everything kind of went downhill from there.
Downhill.
is it
That's
correct to say that medium doesn't change who you are, but just reveals it?
Yeah.
yeah, I think definitely something really like interesting about anime is that it does actually kind of like it really like it does expose a lot of like who you are, like a lot more than a lot of other media, I will say, because it can be a lot more like, I guess the word is like maybe raw. I don't know. Does that make sense to anyone? It's like
Kinda.
it like if you like it, you kind of feel more. I don't know. Something about anime makes me, more than with Western media, makes me feel more at home with it. Makes me feel more like, that I am like on an instinctual level. I enjoy this, like on a fundamental level. I vibe with it rather than, with a lot of Western media. I'm going and, with like more like analytical eye. Even with things like action. I mean, again, I think part of it is that because like action doesn't like really, I don't really like action a lot. So maybe that's like a part, because maybe that's why I don't resonate with like that instinctual part in Western media. But in like, again, in Japanese media, they have that stuff that, yeah, again, it's just like these very specific things that draw out this like kind of raw enjoyment that I personally can't find out of other media.
Yeah, I think for me, it's I tend to click with the anime sense of humor a little bit more. I mean, it depends on what kind of mood I'm into, because it seems like they a lot of Japanese stuff does that kind of light absurdist comedy where it's like everything's kind of just turned a bit over the top, almost like a cartoon, but kind of like how a cartoon would be in the West, but like anime, so it's not necessarily like a kid thing.
Yeah, and that's nice. I enjoy it. But yeah, anime cool basically. Moral of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, that's wow. That was a lot.
yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, we
Um
went we went off topic quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, you know? I think it went a lot of interesting places that I don't think it would have went.
Yeah, we went from lesbian sex to religion to geopolitics.
Exactly. Uh I don't know, maybe one of those might be chronologically out of order, but hey, yeah, who knows. But yeah. Um what do you guys so um do you guys have like anything else that that you all want to talk about, maybe related to, I guess, what we've just talked about, or to gushing over magical girls?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I said pretty much everything that's coming to mind. I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting with that.
I just
I'll
wanna
remember it. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to reinforce that I respect the studio, the developers, the adaptation team, and pretty much obviously the author for doing this anime, because it's not for everyone, but for the certain of people that they are doing it for, they are giving their passion, like putting their love into it, like their passion for
It
the in this
takes
anime.
balls, and they're really like putting their best foot forward with it, and that's what I will
Yeah,
say
yeah,
about this. Yeah,
yeah.
this
More,
anime.
it's more like they don't worry about the other people that are not interested in this kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just more that they're sticking to their guns or something. I don't know how to say it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's basically it. And if I were to put this on like a and it's interesting because I think with some like anime, I tend to think of it, and I sometimes I put it like on a whatever, on a rating. I kind of put it in a mental scale, right? And for me, I think this wouldn't necessarily fit on like a scale, right? I think it's very like um I don't know. Me personally, I think it's unique enough where you can't like, you can judge it like, critically in some aspects, but I struggle to really put it like to rate it. It's good, and I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's not objectively a masterpiece.
Yeah.
There are flaws within it, of course. It's
So
not the most thought provoking or deep plot or plot twist or whatever, but it's just genuinely good fun that you can just have a nice time to watch, to
y-
enjoy, to laugh out. It reminds me of like those 2000 like early mid 2000s, like movies are not aiming to be like the best of movies, but they just want to be dumb fun. They
yeah.
just want to be like comedy fun. So it reminds me of that. It's something like, or another anime which I just recently watched, which is Mashal. Mashal is like, I don't know if it's a shonen. It's kind of a shonen, but it's sort of not. I don't think it's pretty much of a shonen. is mainly a comedy. It's like if you mix Harry Potter with One Punch Man. That's
Interesting.
my show. And I don't care if it's like the most deep plot or whatever, but what the quality of the anime gives me is that it gave me a good time that I watched it. It gave me a good laugh. So yeah, so for people that maybe like are having a time that is when they are down or something, when they're having a rough time, they can just watch any of this anime, and it's not a masterpiece by any sense, in objectively, but it can like soothe their like relieve their emotions, or their moments or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's why I appreciate it.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't think I'm not gonna put this on a scale like anywhere. I'm not gonna rate it. I'm not gonna kind of do any of that for this. There are a lot of shows where I would do that, where I'm like, oh, they could have done this better. They could have done that. But I'm like here, and I'm like, you know what? This is good.
Yeah, I
And I
think
like it.
I think it manages for me to kind of hit that sweet spot. But I don't think there would ever be a time when I wouldn't be up for watching this show. But at the same time, if the autism juices take over, I think there is still stuff to look into. There's still there's like stuff there if that's kind of the direction your brain's going. So again, of course there are things I've seen that are better than it. However you want to
Mm-hmm.
categorize
Mm-hmm.
that, but I mean this is a thoroughly enjoyable show.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is more than enough. That is like, if I'm satisfied, then I won't ask for more. Like of course, like objectively, yeah, there could be something better. This could have been done better, something like that. But
Yeah.
subjectively, this is already perfect for me. Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely be watching the 3 episodes I haven't been able to get to yet, and
Mm-hmm.
if they come out with a season 2, I'm definitely watching that as well.
yeah, and that's gonna be it's gonna be fun. Yeah, and you know, that's yeah, cool. And and are we gonna? I think that's I I'm gonna like I hesitate to say, but I think that's it. Like, does anyone else have any like closing thoughts and
On the side
whatnot?
note, if I on the side note, in Reddit,
Go ahead.
r/anime, gushing over magical girls is considered to be peak fiction, alongside free run. Okay. So within the last season, you have 2 peak fictions. One's free run, which is objectively a masterpiece, in my opinion, and then gushing over magical girls, which is the subjective masterpiece. So you have both sides. You have the best of both worlds in one season.
Yeah. The only for me personally, the only anime that would like top like gushing over magical girls that I remember in quote unquote recent memory would be Ishizoku Reviewers. Is the only that is to me like absolute like 100% like perfection. Like
Yeah.
I would that is like I think but it's definitely up there, and if someone says let's watch some gushing over magical girls, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
can we watch interspecies reviewers instead, even though like if there's 2 choices between interspecies and gushing over magical girls, I'll choose interspecies, but I'll be more than happy with gushing over magical girls, and that is a very good thing to say, because there's a lot of anime where it's gonna be fine, and you're gonna be like, okay, I watched this and it was pretty good, but not like, okay, yeah, if someone asks if you want to watch this, like I'm not gonna say yes a lot if I've already seen that. But with gushing over magical girls, I would watch it. If someone were to recommend it, or not recommend to bring it up.
Yeah, there's some things that you don't want to watch again. You watch the first time and say, okay, you're done. For example, Demon Slayer. I mean, I already watched it first time. I'm not gonna watch it again. It's just not that appealing. Same also like Jujutsu Kaisen. Anime Awards was a scam. Okay, Anime Awards is a scam. I don't believe in Anime Awards. The titles that they've given, like Jujutsu Kaisen being Jujutsu Kaisen being Anime of the Year is such a scam. I think I saw a comment saying that, oh, it's the Shonen Awards. I completely agree with that comment. it's basically the Shonen Awards. It's not anime awards. There are
Yeah.
other anime that are objectively better than Jujutsu Kaisen, but oh well, it's because Jujutsu Kaisen has better animation, and that's why they gave the thing.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I think something that people have to keep in mind when you have these anime awards. It's the lowest common denominator because it's what the most people vote for, and the
yeah,
most people aren't gonna vote for because like you're having these people that are watching like people have their like objectively like these like better animes,
yeah.
but again it's like a lowest common denominator thing, so you can't really expect it to be it's like a Jujutsu Kaisen, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen it, but I've heard like pretty good things about it, and I'm not gonna say it's bad or anything, but again like
It's not bad, but I wouldn't say it deserved that spot. So
Well, you also got to consider, like, think of how dumb the average person is, and realize that 50% of people are dumber than that.
yeah, I have I have this burning like I'm just thinking of some people that I know which will basically go and like and it go I don't know. There are these like how do I say it? Yeah. Anyways, but these people there are some people I know which will literally like when I was way back when there was a brief time when I was on Tinder, and on Tinder I watched and I saw so many girls' profiles with Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like I love Jujutsu Kaisen, and they would
oh
like,
dear.
and these girls were to talk about how much they love JJ like Satoru Gojo, and they simp for Satoru Gojo, and
The
I was
mainstream.
like, and I was literally like, I was like, I don't know. Sometimes if someone unironically like says that like how much they love Jujutsu Kaisen, I think it's just because they're either maybe like it's like their first anime ever, maybe, which okay, fine, but a lot of times it's just like to appeal to everyone, and then
Yeah,
you end up appealing to no one,
yeah,
or like the fakest people.
yeah.
But yeah, and
Which is why this gushing over magical girls work, because it doesn't try to appeal to everyone. It's just trying to trying to fit to a certain demographic. That's it.
therefore it's a masterpiece, obviously, and everyone should watch it.
Yeah,
Yep.
to have the time of their lives.
Exactly. Incredible.
Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah.
I, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I don't know if I would consider recommending it as the first anime though.
Oh no,
No,
no.
Because they would
Not
end up like me or something. I don't know, like us. I don't know.
honestly, even beyond the fact that if anyone who watches this as their first anime is going to get filtered to hell, but I also think that the show you appreciate it more when you kind of understand the common anime tropes, because it's kind of
Yeah.
making fun of it all, and it's again watching any kind of parody without knowing anything about what it is parodying.
yeah, this like High School DxD, I will say, are like the anime that if it is your first anime, there is a 99% chance that you will never watch anime ever again. If that is like your first anime.
Yeah, but we were the exception, no?
Exactly. I mean, but still, well, we still had like that exposure to, not like, with you Naruto, with me it was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the unofficial one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
So
And for
I
me, it was
vividly
Pokemon.
remember. Yeah, I vividly remember after watching High School DxD, I searched up tags harem, which are similar to
yes,
High School DxD.
yes, I did the same
then-
thing.
and
Oh
then
my
one of
god.
One
Oh
of
my
the
god.
one of them was Shinmai Mao. Everyone knows.
Oh my
Which
god.
testament of Sister Devil.
Yes.
Everyone knows. And then also Maso Gakuen HXH, which is the ripoff of High School DxD. Yeah, like that was the normal reaction to me. Like, I
Yeah.
like this anime. I'm gonna watch another anime that looks like it.
Yeah. It's just like Yeah, it was on oh my god, what is the site? Oh, that it's fuck, this anime site's that's dead. Like the official one is dead. Something, oh my god.
It's
I
anime.
Yeah, Kiss, oh my god, Kiss Anime. God rest that site's soul. You would go and you would click on like the tag. I would click on like the harem tag, and I would
Yes,
there would be like the
exactly.
stars. There would be the stars for like the popular ones, and I
Yeah.
would literally, when I was in middle school, I would literally click through A to Z and just watch all of the ones with the stars on them or the titles that I found the most interesting.
Yeah. That's how I also got introduced to Tularu, for example.
Yes, yes. Oh my god.
Like all
Oh
these
my
anime
god.
coming out, I was like, oh shit, damn.
This is the degenerate experience.
Yes, exactly.
This
But
is
then, but then I
yeah.
was, yeah, but then I was also interested, like introduced to visual novels relatively early, which is kind of interesting because I didn't expect that I would have that long attention span. Because that same friend who introduced the XD to me also introduced Grisaya no Kajitsu. So Grisaya no Kajitsu is my first official visual novel. I mean, first visual novel period. I don't have an unofficial one, and it was quite surprising that I managed to read it like throughout and finish like 2 routes when I was introduced to it, and that's
Yeah.
how I got introduced to visual novels. Like, oh damn! And then once you start to go deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole, like for example, High School DxD, I didn't know it was based on a light novel, and then the moment I knew, I had to go read it.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so you have different mediums like, oh wow, it's not just anime, but there's also manga and also light novels and also visual novels. Like, oh damn, this is one very deep hole that I'm going to get into.
I hope my neighbors aren't gonna like knock on my door for me like yelling like out of excitement after hearing how similar your anime origin story was to mine. Your weeb origin story.
Yeah. I'm happy that we have similar.
Yes.
That
Oh
means
my
there's not one that I'm not I as we said, as we've discussed talked before. At least I'm happy that to know that I'm not alone in this world.
god.
Also yeah.
Incredible. High School DxD as the first anime. You know what? Not
Yeah.
many people can say that.
Yeah. What
But
was
yeah.
yours officially?
Unfortunately, okay, not counting Pokemon because that was just a thing I watched occasionally throughout childhood. My first anime was unfortunately Sword Art Online, which
Ah.
I am, and I'll be honest, I'm surprised that one didn't put me off the medium entirely. Although the next anime I watched was, I mean, it was better and worse because like it was No Game No Life, which it was so
Ah.
much because the thing is that one was so much better. But at the same time, I was like, oh, when's the next season coming out? Oh, it's just
Oh
not. It's just
no.
not.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Until now, no season 2. Sad.
Yeah.
Well, Zero is like the technically the season 2, but
Yeah, but Zero is a movie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. At some point, I got to read the
Unfortunately.
source material for it, but I just haven't
Exactly.
gotten around to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm too
But the
too
thing
busy.
is, the voice actor in Sword Art Online is the same as the voice actor in Dogen no Life. So
What?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's
the
crazy.
MC, yeah, it's the same. He's the same. My Sugu Sugu, my Suoka Yoshitsugu. Yeah. So he's one of my favorites. And honestly, ads. I'm gonna say something controversial. I actually like Sword Art Online. Sorry.
I really
It's
wanted
what.
to like it. Like
Yeah,
I gave it way too much of a chance. Like I watched the I think I watched 2 seasons of it just because I
yeah,
really liked the concept, and there were bits and pieces that I did like. Like I liked the animation and the choreography and all that. But
yeah,
like
yeah,
I still remember one time, like like uh, like I think I audibly called one of the characters a stupid bitch because it was after he gets out of the video game and he's doing a kendo match against his sister. So
yeah,
he holds the kendo sword like he did in the video game, and the
yeah.
girl's internal monologue is like, "Where did he learn to hold a sword like that?" I'm like, "Where the fuck do you think? Maybe the video game he's been stuck in for the past 2 years."
Titled Sword Art Online.
Yeah, like it was just bashing my head against the wall. And that was on top of a bunch of other things that had already pissed me off. Like, I
It's
legitimately
funny.
thought I accidentally skipped episode 2 because the gap between episode 1 and episode 2, they just skipped like the first 3 months of the video game for no reason.
Yeah.
And then they didn't adapt chapter. What is the chapter like 0.5 or something?
16.5. 16.5.
And they didn't adapt chapter 16.5. Obvious, and then that's an SMH. I haven't seen SAO, but that's all. That's all I know is chapter 16.5.
Yeah, everyone. I think everyone back then when Sword Online came out, like everyone knew about chapter 16.5. I don't know, like it's kind of funny. Like everyone's like going to read it, and if you didn't know what it was, you definitely like got curious and you go read it. Like I was one of those that like what's chapter 16.5, and then I went to read it and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like damn, yeah. See, again 16.5 fan service.
Well, anyways, yeah, I think. Oh my god.
we
Damn, that was.
a bit too much. Yeah.
I'm like looking at the Audacity, and this is funny because it's been like we've been recording for over 2 hours.
2 hours and a minute, I think. It's 2:04.
2 hours,
Yeah.
1 minute, and 22 seconds.
Damn.
But yeah, no, it's fun, and I'm happy. I mean, this has been good. I'm really happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last big episode that we had with what's it called? The episode where we had our when we brought our guest on.
Yes.
We have another guest that we brought on for an episode that we did, and that one was I think like 2.5 hours.
He just had so many stories that he was telling us, and they were all so good.
Yeah, they were all so good. So stay tuned for that. He does the subtitles for Jujutsu Kaisen officially on Crunchyroll and stuff. So yeah. But so anyways, that's enough about that. But yeah, I think we're about like I think we're about like wrapped up.
Yeah,
I would like to say. Okay,
Final
so
message to the viewers: watch Gushing over.
yeah, real. So okay, Asid, where can we find you?
Oh, YouTube. I'm not gonna dox myself, right?
Oh, I mean, like social media. Sorry, like, do you use anything other than YouTube?
Yeah, like we're not gonna actually go and find you.
Yeah, I know.
See, like with ads, like I'm gonna go find him. Like you mark my words. Editor, put up Adze's address on the screen.
It's okay. I'm like 3 times Dvovsky's size. I can take him.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
can just my YouTube, because I don't go on Twitter, as I mentioned, and yeah, the only websites social media I frequent is YouTube and Reddit. That's it.
Alrighty, so I think that's pretty good, and yeah. With that being said, Adze, do you have any kind of closing remarks? Any we can find you on YouTube or something, on Twitter, right? And
yep, you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/ADZEYT, ADZEYT. I'm also on Twitter at AdsTweets, and all the links for everything will be in the description. Go follow me, go follow wherever Dvovsky wants to put himself, and definitely subscribe to Acid. He's got some good content out there.
Yeah, criminally underrated, honestly. Like the moment that I saw his content, I was like, oh my god. He's just like me for real.
Thank you.
But yeah. Definitely. Well, with that, yeah, thank you all so much for listening for however long. And yeah, wow. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.